Sometimes when you come across that you're going to tune a piano, it may be far from pitch, from where it's supposed to be. And it could be sharp or flat. In most cases it's going to be flat. So in that case, what you would need to do is perform a pitch raise on the piano before you fine tune it, because if the piano is far from pitch, if you just try to go through it and tune it and pull up each note to pitch, by the time you're done, most of the notes are going to be flat, because the change in the tension of the strings as you go through and tune the rest of the strings are going to pull the other strings flat. So this video is demonstrating what's called a pitch raise, and what that is going through and quickly pulling the pitch up to where it and actually above where it needs to be, so that when it settles back, most of the notes should be about where there should be, and then we'll have to go through and fine tune it. But the goal is to go through and raise the pitch quickly and not worry about getting it right on, but at least close to where it should be in order to be able to do a fine tuning after that. I'm using the program or the electronic tuning software called TuneLab, which is a good one and has a good pitch raise functionality on it. We're going to be demonstrating. Now, this version of TuneLab that I'm using is for the iPad or iPhone. There are other versions available, one for your desktop, for the laptop, another one for Android phones or smartphones. So we're just going to show you the process to go through. Now, this piano is about 30 cents flat on average. Overall, some sections are not quite as flat as that, but they're on average it's about 30 cents flat. Now, on TuneLab, we're going to go to the settings button, which is down here. Okay, and we're going to choose overpull. Overpull is the pitch raise feature. Okay, now you want to check this. It says bass bridge goes up to, and if you click on this button here, you can change that. On this piano, the bass bridge does go up to D3, but you can change that here. The highest wound string would be D3, so we want to select that. Then we go back to overpull. And what we're going to do is pre-measure. Okay, and what that means is it's going to measure. I've got it set up to measure all the C's, E's, and G's on the whole piano. And what it'll do is it'll measure so it knows how far sharp or flat the notes are, so it knows how much to overpull. Okay, what overpull means, it's going to tell you to tune it. Say, like for example, if it's 30 cents flat. It's going to do about 25% overpull, which means it's going to tune it or have you set it at about 7.5 cents sharp. Okay, so then it's going to fall back to pretty close to where it should be, and that's going to vary depending on what the section of the piano is, but that's a generalization there. So we're going to go through and begin pre-measuring, and I'm just going to play each note. So you can, if you're watching, you can kind of see it told you how much flat, how many cents flat each of those notes was. Okay, now we've determined how much it needs to overpull, because you could, as you were watching those numbers, if you're paying attention to that, you could see that some sections of the piano were maybe 50 or 60 cents flat, and some sections of the piano were only about 20 cents flat. So TuneLab has a nice feature where it calculates how much overpull it should do based on how sharp or flat that section of the piano is. Okay, and the overpull feature always starts you in the low bass, so A0 would be the lowest note on the piano. So we're gonna start with that. Okay, and as you can see, when you play a note, there's a peak that comes up here. Okay, and it's going to be way down here, toward the left side of the spectrum, and that shows that we got to pull it up here because we want it to end up so the peak is close to that red line. And again, we're not trying to get it exact. Quickly going through, and in most cases, unless the piano is more than 50 cents flat or sharp, the note will change for you automatically. You can change it by tapping on the display, but as TuneLab listens to the note, it will change the note for you. Now, in this lower section, it doesn't always work so good. Jump up here a little bit. I'm not going to do every note, but here we're to the bichord notes where there's 2 strings per note. Again, it doesn't have to be perfectly in tune, but we'll go through, and I start from the bottom and I go all the way to the top, getting all the strings, and we'll go a little further just so you can see a trichord note, or where most of the notes you've got 3 strings per note. And you're going to have more than one peak because you obviously have more than one string. But you can watch the peaks. So we got most of them pretty close there to the red line. We'll go to the next one here. Now, one thing you might notice that it kind of shifts back and forth between D and D sharp. That's because if it's 50 cents or more flat, it's going to hear that D, or what's closer to the D, and want to go back to that. So what you can do is, if you go back into settings and click on auto note switching, if you just do auto up, that way, say for example, most of your notes are 60, 70 cents flat. It's going to keep wanting to go back to the note below it that you're trying to tune from. So if you do auto up, then once you've switched the note, it won't try to go back on you. So that's a nice feature. So going through now, once you've gone through the whole piano and pulled it up to pitch, it'll sound still out of tune because you haven't fine-tuned it. But at least most of the notes should be close to where they should be, and then you can go through and fine-tune it.